What do you call it when Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan, and Guy Gardner team up to fight Sinestro under the big top?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
A three-ring circus. It's so great to have you on the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. Welcome. On behalf of ComicFoo 2814, Tim the Comic Collector, and Silver Haired Bronze Age Babe, I say hello to Signature King Tony Fett. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Great to have you here. Anything exciting happen? Any comic store trips this past week?
I had all intentions of going to my LCS on Friday, but it just didn't happen. So I've yet to go.
Yeah, for me, I didn't make it this week, even though there was a new Wonder Woman issue this week. It was too cold to go anywhere this week.
So when you went out to start your car, did it give you a whoa, whoa?
No,
Like,
luckily my car lives in a garage, so I mean,
oh, gotcha.
it helps a little bit. I mean, it's not a perfect scenario, but it helps a little bit. But it doesn't. I do remember many years in the past where you turn the car and the car almost goes no.
Yeah. You get
So,
out there with the ice scraper, and you might as
yeah.
well have a flamethrower because it doesn't work.
Yeah. I love this stuff. It's this spray that you just go to the Walmart and buy or whatever, and you just spray it on your windshield, and no matter how thick the ice is, it just in a couple of seconds just melts away.
I wonder if that would work if you were like ice fishing on the lake.
It's not. I mean, usually the car on your wind or the ice on your windshield isn't nearly as thick as it would be ice fishing.
True.
So let's say hello to some folks that have joined us in the live chat. If you're watching on the rewind, hello to you as well. First up is our buddy Ruby G, White Tiger Cool Kong Collected Muabunga.
Muabunga indeed.
Yes. Hello to Christina Payne. Hope you're doing well and have had a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes.
And Barbarian Kung Fu is also here as well. Great to see you here too. I hope you've been having a great new year.
Everyone's favorite Kung Fu master.
Yes, everybody was Barbarian Kung Fu fighting. Yes. So let's get right into the latest DC Comics news. Do you want to start or would you like me to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a few things in the world of comic books to talk about. Getting a facsimile release in April. Looky
Again,
there.
for the 900th time.
But you know what's different about this one as opposed to all of the other facsimile releases or reprints this comic book has had?
What's that?
This is going to be in the original size that it was in the Golden Age. You might remember they did that with Batman's first appearance for Batman Day back in the fall. April 18th is a DC-sponsored Superman Day, which ties into the release of Action Comics #1. But this will actually April 18th.
April 18th, okay.
But this will be in stores the Wednesday before. So April 16th is when we'll be able to find that. Action Comics #1 debuted on April 18th, 1938. And DC is doing a bunch of Summer of Superman publishing information with some stuff revealed already, some stuff I'll talk to in just a moment, and other stuff that will be revealed in the future as well.
Very cool for all you facsimile bros out there.
Yeah, which is, I'm one of them. And of course, our Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe loves those as well.
Yeah.
And since I'm talking about facsimiles, what's another famous Superman cover, Tony?
Oh, so many. Give me an era.
How about Bronze Age?
Bronze Age. Oh gosh, I can't even.
How about a Neil Adams famous Superman cover?
Okay. Well, they just did the Muhammad Ali one.
Mm-hmm.
So, Superman, was it 247? Yeah, was it? No, I think it's something else. I don't know.
What if I said Kryptonite Never No More or Never Again?
Okay, yeah, I think
Do
I
you know
know
which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Kryptonite Never
Yep,
More.
that's one. I was going to say the one with the chains. Yeah.
Yes. Superman 233 is going to be getting a facsimile release coming in April. So not only are we getting the regular cover, we're going to get a foil cover for it, which I think is pretty cool. We are going to get a sketch cover for it. They've also announced a 4th exclusive cover for it. And look at this baby.
Those action figure covers are the best.
I love those. And now they've got an action figure cover of him breaking the chains that will be coming out as well.
Those are so cool. They're so good. Like the art.
Even in person.
So realistic.
Yes, even in person. I was just reading one the other night and I'm like, that looks so good.
Now they need to come out with the action figure for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So there's more facsimiles coming out in April. DC has released their April solicitations. Brave and the Bold number 60 is getting a facsimile. Do you know why that is a key? That is the first time that the group is called the Teen Titans. And it's also the first appearance of Donna Troy, Wonder Girl.
Oh, very cool.
What I thought was interesting is DC has claimed that April 26th is Donna Troy's birthday. This will be on sale April 23rd. It will also have a foil cover and a blank sketch cover as well. Do you know the cover that I'm talking about when I mentioned this issue?
I think so.
Let's just share it with you anyway. There you go.
Yeah, I was wrong, but okay, yeah. Okay. But I now, yeah, I know what that is.
Pretty cool. I'm happy to say I have an original of this in my collection already.
Awesome. That's a key I can imagine you having.
Yes. Other facsimiles coming out. More Fun Comics number 73. Look at that. Spectre and Dr. Fate. That is set, for April 30th. Batman. 614 facsimile. That will be in stores on April 2nd. Another Batman. Look at that classic cover there. The Batman 615 facsimile, scheduled for April 16th.
That's a cool cover.
That is a great cover. And then I think that's it, along with the Superman. So
very cool. Lots of facsimiles for you guys.
Yeah, obviously they're working and they're selling well enough that they continue to do that.
Just keep churning them out.
That's right. We'll say hi to some more folks who have joined us. Old Wolfie is here with us. Hi, Tony. How you doing? How you doing? And John's Comics with Kids is here. Oh, Tony and Chad. Also, Tony, very concerned about the food your Chinese restaurant is serving.
I think he's talking to Old Wolf.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he is. I thought he was talking to us for a moment. Up here, he's talking to us.
Yeah. Chow mein sandwiches are a gift from God.
Barbarian, I was sharing screen, so I wasn't able to. Was that Brave and the Bold 60 that you were able to pick up? I bet it was.
Very nice.
And Tony, we'll just add this in for the fun of it.
Yeah, that actually sounds good. Sign me up. Where I'm at, they have a Chinese place, but it's like a super hip new place. It's Chinese food burritos.
Interesting.
And it is amazing. I tell you what.
It's the Superman that he got. That's cool.
I
have an original of the Superman in my collection too. I was fortunate enough to have that. I'll probably still pick up at least the foil because I think that thing would look so cool foiled out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you have for news?
Some big news coming from the Gunverse. He did confirm we will get the Supergirl in the new Superman movie.
Cool.
So that's exciting for all you big Super Gal fans. I know copy 801 is a big one probably one of the more bigger ones in our community that I, off the top of my head, he carves on top of carves. Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah, that's very exciting. Supergirl. So I don't know how long. They didn't say if she's going to get a significant amount of screen time. It could be they did the same thing with Wonder Woman, the end of Shazam movie. She had what, a minute and a half of screen time right at the end, so it could be something like that. Who knows? Who knows? The biggest news that come out of this weekend and the inspiration for tonight's stories, our new Sinestro has been cast. And his name is I forget already, so bear with me for a moment. Ulrich Thomsen.
Okay.
And he's done a lot for Warner Bros. And HBO, so I'm kind of excited to see him. And he does kind of have that, stiff upper lip that you would need to be Sinestro. A lot, very similar to Mark Strong's interpretation, I think. So again, I'm very excited to see him play Sinestro. Very, very excited. So looking forward to that. Ulrich Thomsen to play Sinestro in the new Lanterns TV show. So we have our Jon Stewart, we have our Hal Jordan, now we have our Sinestro. So which is confusing because this is supposed to be like an Earth-based show. So why Sinestro here?
Yeah.
Who knows? And they haven't confirmed if he's Green Lantern Sinestro or Fear-based Sinestro. We don't know where he is in the Sinestro realm yet. So time will tell. But I am very much looking forward to that show.
Very cool. So I have trivia for you, and I didn't know if I was going to do it after the retro review or before, but I think I'll just do it now.
Okay.
Here's your trivia question. This is just for fun, for bragging rights. Before Mark Strong, someone else has played Sinestro in live action. True or false?
False. Final answer.
Incorrect. Incorrect!
Who else played Sinestro?
Oh, you ask. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, it does.
Legends of the Superheroes, a 2-episode NBC primetime airing, featured the character Sinestro, and he was played by Charlie Callis.
Now that I've seen that picture, you're right. You're technically you're right.
Yes. Well,
I have seen that before.
Yes.
Oh man.
Another piece of news I thought I'd pass along to. A little bit of spoilers if you're a Flash fan and haven't read issue Flash 17 yet. Do you know what Flash's new power? Flash has a new power. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I don't.
It is duplication. He can clone himself into other versions of himself so he can be in multiple places at once.
He did that on the Flash TV show.
Oh.
Several times.
Well, now he can do it in the comic books.
Okay. Or again, on the Flash show, he called him the Remnants.
Oh, okay.
I think. So he could be in two places at once.
Yeah.
Well, he did it, that one episode, he did it several times. But very cool to do in the comics. That's very fun. Nice to see those things finally come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other DC news to talk about?
No, that's kind of the big deal. The big Sinestro casting and the Supergirl announcement in terms of movies and TV. So I'm slowly starting to get excited for these projects. I don't want to get too terribly excited because they always get, the rug always comes out underneath them, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting on that Amazon's TV show.
Is there a new Superman trailer or something out? I usually don't watch trailers.
Yes, there is a new Superman trailer. If you've seen the first one, there isn't a whole lot extras to see. You have a different. People are freaking out. There's a different angle.
Okay.
That you can see Superman flying. That's kind of it, and you see some shots of Lex Luthor's plane jet thing.
Okay.
And that's really it. There's an extra scene of Crypto for like a nanosecond. But it seems like a continuation of the first trailer where he's just kind of pulling Superman through the snow.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's it. Nothing to, run over to YouTube and see right away.
Okay.
No Metamorpho. I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to show him. So
yeah, well, they showed just a touch of Metamorpho in the first trailer.
Yeah, you saw just his face.
Like it's just his face, yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't even show any face of him in this part. So
okay.
Still curious to see how he's going to turn out. But
yeah,
time will tell.
So you picked our retro review tonight, which is we're doing a little villain in the spotlight again. I like kind of when we do that. Sometimes we give the heroes so much we never give the villains the proper chance to be villainous. But we are tonight.
And in this case, it was a good guy gone bad, essentially. The inspiration for this, was the latest news announcement. And that was, Mr. Sinestro. So, and I'm going to do the entire Sinestro review with my Sinestro ring.
Love it. So. Do you have to take an oath first?
Something. Beware your fears, be made into light. I think is the official oath.
Did you say beware? Did you just say beware your furries be made or brought to light?
Be made into light. But yes,
beware your furries.
Beware the furries be made into light.
Yeah.
If only we had an in-house Green Lantern expert.
If only.
To help us through this review. If only. So check your local pound. See if he's around. He may have gotten scooped up with the dog catcher.
Yeah.
If you let him out of puppy jail if he's in your neighborhood.
Yep. I think your book comes first chronologically.
It doesn't matter. It's a one shot and technically a different part of the universe. So
you can go for yours first.
Yeah, we can do mine first. I am going to do this one a little bit different. I'm not going to show it on the screen because I couldn't find it on my go-to comic book website. I found it on the other one that I don't like, and my ad blocker really hates that site. It's not 100% effective, so I'm going to do your channel a solid and not get banned.
Okay.
So I did the Sinestro Futures End one shot from 2014. So, and this came out, I believe, in March. So this was almost 11 years old. No, November. Okay, so it is a little over 10 years old. Okay. And for those of you who remember, I miss these old comics. I say old comics, but this era of comics for many reasons. Like, gosh, you got like all this cool stuff. Like, oh gosh, I just saw it. Ads for Midtown Comics. Like, I haven't seen those in a hot minute. Remember this show? Huh? Gotham, a full page ad for TV shows. Man, that was. Love it or hate it.
I've met a few of those cast members.
I have met. Well, he's not on here. Alfred Pennyworth. The guy who played Alfred.
I've met Bruce Wayne. I've met Penguin.
That would be cool.
And I'm trying to think if I met anyone else from that show. Oh, yeah, I did. The guy that turned out to be Solomon Grundy.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Drew Powell, I think, is his name.
Yes, you're right. Channel 52. And there's ads for different conventions in here, which I think were really cool. Man, this was a fun time to read comics, in my opinion. So to get this party started, we start out on Thoritos, the Ultramax Penitentiary. So we cut off somewhere. There we go. That's probably a little better. Sinestro is currently in prison. He has been caught. He's serving a life sentence on this prison, and he's in this scene he's talking about the current state of himself, and he's in this prison, and this is where the scum of the universe come to die. And I don't want to say he's given up, but he's sort of accepted his fate that, this is where he's going to be. All he does is go to factories and work and whatnot. But in typical Ocean's 11 style, he's working on a plan with somebody, and they're kind of doing like a handoff, some kind of little trinket or little gadget. And who knows what he's going to do. We cut to this big gathering in the prison, and how am I going to explain this? A bunch of people show up, a bunch of unknowns. It turns out they're helping to run the prison, and they're bringing in new people into the prison. And we see them here, and this isn't a key of any kind, although these are new people in DC. They don't really do anything. So Sinestro is kind of reminiscing about his time as the leader of the Sinestro Corps and bringing balance to the universe, and ruling by fear, which is his way of kind of policing the universe. And here we're talking about how he ended up in prison. He was on a planet doing some misdeeds, and he got caught. But out of nowhere, in the cells, Lissa, the embodiment of fear, not to be confused with Parallax, comes to him and kind of whispers in his ear, like, I have done what you asked. I found the weapon you desire. For you, the story has ended. Time for you to leave. So what's that all about? Here we have another full-page ad for Gotham. And sure enough, she was able to sneak in a sliver of a yellow power ring. And here he is. He's making his big prison break, slicing and dicing through guards and inmates who stand in his way of freedom, which is pretty gnarly. I really enjoy the art on this one. And he's like, man, I really miss ruling through fear. I can feel the fear of these inmates coming in. And he also saves a bunch of inmates too. So here, check this out. We have a Indianapolis Comic-Con ad for Indianapolis Comic-Con 2014. A lot of cool people going to be there. Burt Ward, Alan Tudyk.
Is that
even Adam West?
Yeah.
Adam West was going to be there. Very cool. Some Firefly crew. Phil Lamar. Jay and Silent Bob. That'd be a lot of fun. Man, that sounds like a really fun con to go. So he's made it off the prison. He's in the ship, and he is taking what we call a spacewalk here on Earth, leaving the ship, and he is taking the skull of I forget how to pronounce the name, an important individual from Corrigar, and he is going to New Corrigar, and here he finds several other fallen Yellow Lanterns, and he is preparing to fully charge his yellow power battery. Zeal is the name of that character. I'm sorry. And sure enough, he gets hit with a black lantern ring, and he says, "This will be the new colors of the Sinestro Corps moving forward." So he is bringing his old core to life via the black lantern ring, and that kind of wraps up this issue. Real nice, short and sweet, which is why I really love these 3D issues. Back in the day, these were $3.99. Believe it or not, $3.99.
Is that the lenticular cover?
It is.
Yeah, let me make you big so we can take a look at that. Oh, very cool.
I tried to get as many as I could. My LCS at the time was shorted on a lot of the cool 3D covers. I do have all the issues, just not all of them are cool 3D covers. So another small goal that I have is to finish the ones that I missed.
Cool. Is there an assist for the book that I'm doing?
There is.
Okay,
It is.
cool. So I'm going to
Um,
do Year of the Villain, Sinestro #1, which is a one-shot.
yeah, both these are kind of one shots. So if you want to learn more about the character, this is a great place to do it.
Yeah. So we start out with Sinestro heading into space in some type of mission, and the overlay is saying, some people serve because they're chosen, some people choose a cause because they need to serve, but most people serve because it's what everyone else is doing. But whatever the reason, ultimately they serve because service gives the universe an illusion of order. And there you see a planet that is getting very much attacked. We jump back 3 days, and we're at the Hall of Doom, where Apex Lex has an assignment for Sinestro. He's become aware of a threat to his plan, and he needs Sinestro to take care of it. They call themselves the Paragons. They're a mysterious species who've come to stop the universe's shift towards doom. And Sinestro says, I'll take care of it. He's like, hey, don't be arrogant. You don't know anything about them. They're from another universe. And he says, well, they're in our universe now. And if there's anything I know about our universe, it's full of beings who sooner or later fail to live up to their reputation. And Sinestro promises that he won't disappoint. So now we cut back to the current action where these beasts are capturing this planet. And he lands and he's instantly spotted. And he starts to attack, and he realizes they're not as easy to defeat as he might have thought. As you see, a hand grabs, swoops him up and catches him, and then just throws him away. And we get a nice 2-page splash here, and you really get the idea of what's going on, how big that these demons are, and the fight that's going underway. So they essentially win, and they leave as fast as they can, leaving another dying planet in their wake. Sinestro asks to talk to who's in charge, and he says, well, that's God, Emperor Garf. And he says, no, I mean someone here. If I started killing people, who would they try to protect? And he says, well, that would be me. I'm Toron. And he's like, how many of these did you manage to kill? And he's like, I don't think we killed any. Then he's like, well, I guess it's a good thing that I take some samples. Do you have a molecular laboratory on this planet? And he gets in there and starts looking, and Garf is, not Garf, but Toron is just as shocked as anyone else when they start looking in on the microscope on these. There's an entire civilization of microscopic beings that are called microns that are all inside these robots. They devote their entire lives in service to the Paragons. And we get a little bit of their origin here. To observe them, he had to slow the recording down to be a fraction of 1 million. Their lifespan lasts only 0.8 milliseconds, all of which is spent repairing the cell damage of the Paragons, after which they die. And the circle turns all over again. And he says, well, that makes you feel kind of sad for them, doesn't it? And Sinestro's like, I have to go because he's been informed that the planetary core meltdown is happening in 5 minutes. And they're like, well, someone's coming for us, right? Their god Garf wouldn't just abandon us, would he? And he says, oh, I'm sure that you'll be fine. And he takes off as fast as he can, knowing full well that he had no intention of ever sending anyone to help them. He was just needed to get off the planet before it went boom, which it does. So a image of a projection of Apex Lex is asking, how did it go? He says, well, there were setbacks. And he's like, hey, I don't want excuses. The reason I sent you here is because I helped you harness the power of the ultraviolet light. And he says, with that power, you can summon not only matter, but energy and the essence of consciousness itself. And he's like, well, these beings were a little bit more formidable than I was expecting them to be. And he says, but don't worry, I'll stop them. I will find a way. And he's told just to eliminate the threat, Sinestro, even if it means with your life. So now the Paragons are essentially immortal. He has to find some type of way to stop them, which raises the question, how does one defeat gods? He says, in my experience, it's the same way they defeat us, from the inside out. So Sinestro sends little projections of himself coming out of his ring that end up going inside of these Paragons all the way in to the living forms that we were just talking about in there. And they are in the process of repairing some damage done to a Paragon. And the Paragons are starting to attack again. There's a new planet. Paragons are landing, and the planet is starting to fight back. Inside on the cells, we see that the workers are trying to figure out how they can repair the Paragons when, this form of Sinestro arrives. He has to talk to the one who's in charge. And he starts talking to him and wants to try to convince him, maybe there's something in it for you, that you can kind of give up this fight. And, your entire duty, the purpose that you're born, is not just to repair these guys. There's so much more to life. But this is all that they know. So in the meantime, the Paragons are commencing planetary drilling, and they've cleared a perimeter for the ship. Once again, inside the Paragons, there's this Sinestro image, this being, or this projection of Sinestro. And they're like, did the Paragons mention me? Is that why you're here? Have I done well? And he's like, hey, they don't care about you. They don't think about you. Your entire life's mission has been to serve a monster. And they're shocked to hear all of this. But they kind of take Sinestro's word for it. And in all reality, he's telling the truth. He's like, don't you ever stop and ask yourselves why? He's like, why we serve the Paragons? He's like, exactly. He says, well, because they're all powerful. Then he says, then why do they need your help? And he says, it's not about them needing us, it's about us needing them. And then they start to question, well, I don't know. And one even says, they did help me quit drinking. But without the Paragons, the whole world would fall apart, is what they claim. And then he says, without them, how would we even know right from wrong? And we see that the Paragons have defeated another planet again. So they're in the process of rebuilding the internal cells. That's what they're made for. And Sinestro is commenting on that and talks about how their lifespan is so short. You give so much to them and you get so little in return. And we see some Paragons that are in the process of dying that don't want their life to be over with so fast. And he says, there's no greater, no more common mistake in the universe than to serve someone who doesn't serve you back. And some of the people are like, what are you doing talking to this guy? We got to rebuild an entire arm. There's work to be done. But Sinestro's laying the groundwork. So these Paragons are congratulating themselves on the planetary destruction sequence they completed, and they're commencing forward more towards Earth. That's where they've been headed in this path. And then we see the real Sinestro outside of his projections, and he sees them escaping, and then momentarily later he sees that planet completely blowing up. And he sends the offspring that he sent from his ring in there to talk to them, sends them back and says, you failed. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. And they say, we need a slightly different approach, and I think that this one would work. And he says, I spent all this time observing them, and I learned what I could about them. Give us another chance. I think we can figure out how to defeat the Paragons. Now we cut over to Lex Luthor's defense outpost on the edge of the solar system, where a astral projection of Apex Lex is talking to the people that live on this planet, and he's essentially warning them that you're going to die if some of you, if not all of you, because these Paragons are about to land, and you're going to have to fight like heck, against them. So this time Sinestro's racing over there, since that's where they're headed next, and he sends out the projections from his ring to see if their plan can work. Paragons have landed and start tearing this planet apart. Inside, we have the Microns that are trying to do all the cellular repair. But one of these projections of Sinestro is showing one of the Microns a way that they can do something with every newborn Micron. And they don't tell us instantly what it is, but the person's impressed and says, well, it's brilliant. So now we've got the attack going on with the parademons, or Paragons rather. And on this planet, they know they're about to lose. They go to the image of Apex Lex and say, should we evacuate? And he says, no, you stay fighting as long as you can. He's like, but all my friends, everyone I know out there, they've served you so loyally. And they say, well, they'll either stretch themselves, finding strength they never knew they had, or they're going to die. Either way, the work continues. So the fight continues, and they start to notice that they've got a leg up because all of a sudden they're not healing anymore like they were. And the Paragons themselves are surprised. They're like, we're dying. This is impossible. How can this help? At this time, Sinestro lands and starts walking through, and he's being hailed as a hero, enchanted. We cut to the Hall of Doom on Earth, and he's being congratulated for defeating the Paragons. And he says, well, I knew I would eventually. And he asked him, how did he do it? He says, well, at first I tried to convince the Microns to stop fixing the Paragons, but they spent their entire life serving them. He says, it's hard enough to get people to change who they are, but how do you get them to change who they've been? So then it occurred to me that the best way to get them not to throw their whole lives away on the Paragons was to give them more life. So what he did was, in the end, he gave the Microns a reason to abandon their gods, their nation, their entire way of life, by extending their lifespan by 0.2 milliseconds. And it gave them time to rest. It gave them time to do something more. It gave them another purpose. And they started experiencing life and playing games and playing music and figuring out really what life could be, from demonstrations to concerts to talk shows. And he says, Apex Lex says, your plan, while unorthodox, was effective, and my trust in you is well placed. The Paragons are dead, I presume. And he says, well, not all of them. I saved one of them. And Apex Luthor's like, what? And this Paragon that he saved, his wounds are starting to heal. And Sinestro says, well, they will continue to heal so long as you serve me. And he's going to make him a valuable asset. And he bows down to him and says, yes, my lord. Apex Lex is very upset about this and says, I told you to destroy them. He says, you told me to eliminate the threat, and they're no longer a threat. He will help me with my work bringing order to the universe, and that's the work that matters, is it not? And then Apex Lex says, well, how did you manage to get the Microns back to work? He says, I gave them something new to serve, or rather, someone new. And since he figured they were going to be looking for some type of new leader or someone to follow, that version of himself from his ring that went in there should be the one that's hailed as the new Minister of Information. So that's who they're worshiping now. And it was just a directive that he gave the Microns. But they're still enjoying their best life, watching TV, sliding down slides, going out to eat. And they are happy, and he's accomplished the mission that he needed to do. So Sinestro's happy as well. And he says, all you have to do is convince people to serve you is to make them proud to be taken advantage of. And Apex Lex says, well, that's very clever. And then Sinestro says, well, now that I put them back to work, he has no choice but to serve me for the rest of his life. And Apex Lex says, yes, the rest of his life. And then as Sinestro and the Paragon start to walk away, he says, or the rest of yours. It will be interesting to see which he chooses. And that's the end of our story.
Very cool.
And we'll say hello to Cookie, Just a Little Podcast. How you doing? Thanks for giving up some time to watch Mama's Family to come over and watch this show.
Yes.
So thoughts about the stories, and let's give them a grade and stuff too. What's your opinion? What's your thoughts about?
Oh man, Sinestro is one of my favorite villains in the DC universe. So my totally biased opinion, I'm always going to rate these books really high, or any story with Sinestro really high. So 8.5. 8.75 out of 10. So
okay,
very high. Love these stories.
I liked my story a little bit better than the one that you did. Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. I just did. The only thing that I thought was odd about my story is this brief time that they lived. They're microseconds, and how could you do all of this? But I guess I'm equating that to a human time. Maybe a millisecond of time in their universe is much different / much longer than it is in our regular existence. That's the only thing that kind of threw me off, because they're not even living a full second, and that just seemed a little odd to me. I think I would have changed the timing on that, to make it a little bit more relatable to the reader. But other than that, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how they got around getting them to take out the Paragons. Both stories together, I'm going to give it a grade of 7.5 out of 10. But enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's Sinestro for you. I've always imagined, him getting some kind of team up uh,
Mhm.
in uh, in the Sinestro New 52 run. He almost did. They teased it a little bit, and I
Who
didn't
is it
like
going to
it
be
because I
with?
wanted Black Adam,
Oh, okay.
which would have been super duper cool.
Very
Super
nice.
cool indeed.
Yeah. So, what got you into? You said you were a big fan of Sinestro. Why this character?
Um, um, I mean, I don't remember how or why, but I've always liked the character. But then when Injustice came out, Superman takes over the world and establishes a really um, you know authoritarian government. And Sinestro is one of his right hand man.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the excuses he gave to why he joined Superman's regime is because Superman's regime promotes law, order, and stability. And he's like, I established the same type of government on my home planet of Thorgar. So an alliance was, mutually beneficial. And the Yellow Lantern Corps has a huge story to play in Injustice. I wish we could do Injustice, but that story is so long. It's years long. But yeah, that's when I started to pay attention to him a little bit more. Is during the Injustice series, just because he's a no BS kind of guy, and when Billy Batson died, he was like, "Well, sometimes kids die. That's
Hmm.
how governments rise and fall." So he didn't feel
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I understand about because Injustice is so well done. It's almost like Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's too tough of a book to review on a retro review. Probably the only way that you could do Crisis, because even one issue, you would have to break among multiple people because there's
Oh
just
yeah,
so much going on to really give it the review that it needs. And you would almost have to do like one issue a month for a year. Like 1 week in each month you would devote to doing an issue. And some of the issues are double sized, and even
oh
those would
yeah,
would
yeah.
would add some extra time. But I'd love to do that sometime. Right now, the logistics of it seems a little overwhelming.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't even know how to even do that story because there's 5 years of Injustice
Hmm.
stories. So
Yeah.
plus there's spin-offs like Ground Zero,
Hmm.
perspective stories. Oh, it's insane. That story's massive, but it's a good one. I would, who knows? Maybe someday. But yeah, to answer your question, Injustice really start to pay attention to Sinestro. And before that, during the Sinestro Corps War, during the Green Lantern Rise of the Third Army, Jeff Johns' run is another good one.
Okay, cool. So as we move on with our Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, we're kind of at the book show portion. If you want to talk about your channel and show us
Yeah,
something for a book show, go for it.
yeah. Upcoming on the channel, we got lots of shorts. I kind of took a break this week from shorts, kind of gave my channel a little bit of time to rest and reset. And I noticed that when I take these little short hiatuses, when I come back, my channel does really well. So I'm probably going to maybe do that a little bit more this year. I don't know. But upcoming next, whenever I decide when that's going to be, is shorts. I got some huge announcements. I don't want to give too much away because it's so far out, but I'm very excited for it. I've actually started to do some back end of the work now in terms of how I'm going to film it, how I'm going to produce this product, on YouTube and really run with it. And I think someone in our community who did it really well was ComicFoo and his Building a Mystery series. That was a really fun um, little bit blip in his YouTube history that I really enjoyed. So I'm going to kind of use that as an inspiration when it does come time to that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, that's the tiny teaser. You know, if I'm taking anything out of James Gunn's book, here's the trailer to the trailer.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. But and I have my 30 some books from CBCS that should be here. You know, hopefully before I retire, and then we can go over those together. Giveaways with those as well. In terms of a book show tonight, I do have a stack of Green Lantern signed issues, or not Green Lantern, Sinestro books. Here we have Sinestro #1 from the New 52 run, signed right here by Cullen Bunn. So this one is pretty cool. This one was a gift for me. I didn't get this one signed. Never met the Mr. Bunn. I also have #2 of that same run, signed by Dale Eaglesham, right down there. So very cool. Love this book. That's one of my favorite Sinestro stories. Scott Hanna also did a lot of work on Godhead. And that starts with Act. I'm sorry, I got these in reverse. So Act 1, Part 6. Scott Hanna did a lot of the artwork on here, which is really cool.
That was a cool cover.
It was. Act 3, Part 5. Also Scott Hanna. Very awesome. And Philip Kennedy Johnson, not necessarily a Sinestro issue, but a Sinestro cover on the cool limited foily editions of things. So I'm going to continue with this project and get them all signed. Can't wait for that. So stay tuned. That's all I've got.
Very nice. So when are you going to get your first signature of 2025, or have you already?
I have not. It looks like March is probably going to be that day. And if all goes well, it will be Rags Morales.
Cool.
On the Identity Crisis
nice
run of issues. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. So I kind of understand a little bit more what you're talking about in taking a break from the channel. So when I did my hiatus, for the holidays, my last comic book editions video shot up to numbers that I'm not used to seeing with that. And in a sense, it made me feel fantastic, because it made me feel like people are missing my content. And then I started sitting and wondering, am I hurting myself by putting out a weekly video? What if I put out a video every other week? Would the video get more views? Because this one sat for, 4 to 5 weeks and did amazing.
I heard, I'm going, short answer, I'm going to say yes.
It would do better?
It probably would. And from my understanding, if you have a video that does really well, let's say it's right now, it's still continuing to climb, don't upload another video, because how shorts work. This video is doing really well. And then you upload this video, you've just knocked your own video off the short shelf. Yeah. So no one's going to be able to see it anymore. So if you have one that's doing, you said you have one that, is doing well in terms of, your own analytics, at some point you're going to have to knock it off and upload some new content. But experiment, who knows?
I might do that. I mean, I'm definitely going to be dropping a new video in my comic book editions coming up this week. And I'm so excited about this one. And I'll probably do another new video for sure the Tuesday after. And then after that, maybe I might start restructuring. I don't know. I'm just considering options right now. The video that I'm dropping this upcoming week is an update to my JLA haul. This is something I wanted to do in December last month. The problem was some of the books that I needed to show were in Canada and needed to get shipped to me. And they were in, their post office went on strike. So I couldn't get the books in time to show them before I went on my break. But I have them now. A year ago at this time, I had about 36 Justice League of America comic books that I needed to complete Volume 1. And I set this goal. I said 12 a year for the next 3 years, and I'll get done. Well, in 2024, I definitely blew past that 12-year goal. And now you'll see the rest of the 2024 Justice League books that I picked up, and you'll get my new number of where I'm sitting at to complete this run. And I won't spoil it except to say I think it's an impressive number. That's all I'm going to say. So that video will be coming out Tuesday afternoon. Tomorrow is another back issue of the week. It's on a Marvel Comics character. So that's what's planned on my channel. Already on my channel, of course, the back issue of the week, the current one. Tony, you ain't going to believe this. It's almost at 10 views. Almost.
Analytics, man.
It was on the A-Team. You remember the TV show, The A-Team, with Mr. T?
Yeah.
Remember Mr. T? I pity the fool that doesn't watch my YouTube shorts. And the anniversary of the pilot episode of The A-Team was a couple days ago. So last week I did my back issue of the week on The A-Team's first comic book appearance, which I have in my collection. So that's up there. And then for my comic book editions video, I had a AOK unboxing from Varangian Vigilante over in Austria, Thorsten. So that's Comic Book Editions Volume 224. That stuff's already up on my channel to watch.
Very cool. Very nice.
Yeah. For a book show, I have a few different things with Sinestro in it. And I thought, he's so heavily tied to Green Lantern. Let's show a Green Lantern book where he's battling Sinestro. So the Bronze Age is the age I love the most, and this is the one that I came up with, Green Lantern Volume 2, issue number 91, with a nice Green Lantern and Green Arrow taking on Sinestro cover.
Wow.
Yeah. So, for the funsies of it, that's what I chose tonight.
That's a nice cover.
Thanks. Any other books or topics or anything that you want to mention before we wrap up?
Coming into this new 2025, comic book year, if you've been looking ahead, there's a lot of people that are attending conventions that I go to that have never attended conventions before. So I'm very excited for that. Is there a book show or a convention this year that you're looking forward to?
I don't have anything specifically planned out. I would kind of like to sneak down to C2E2, at least for a day. Maybe not for the entire thing, but just for a day would be fun.
I agree.
Maybe, of course, the weather is so iffy at that time. It could be perfectly fine. It could be a snowstorm then. You don't know what you're going to get in the Midwest in April,
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to get some more signatures. I have some dream signatures I'd like to accomplish. We'll see. I'd still like to get some more on the book that you started with me, the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary. Yeah, I'd still like to get some more of those. So we'll see.
That's a fun book, and in a good way, you're going to be chasing stuff for that book for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's a fun long-term project. The problem with those is I really love those long-term projects, so I keep starting new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just have so many, I can't do it.
I'll tell you something that I don't have signed. I have a couple hardcovers signed, but I don't have an omnibus signed, and I think that would be fun to get an omnibus signed, although I think about putting that in my backpack and holding on to that all day because those are heavy.
Yeah, you can only really do one.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe someday, you never know. So that's just some stuff I've been thinking about. Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
might be getting a signature. A community member has offered to get me a signature that I'm interested in at MegaCon, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to take them up on the offer. So,
well, that's literally right around the corner. So
yes, I got to get that in the mail because it's a specific book that I want signed. So.
What's the book? Can you at least tell us the book?
It's a Wonder Woman book.
Wonder Woman book. Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that was a good out of my first guess anyway. A Wonder Woman book.
Exactly. So a vintage Wonder Woman book. How about that?
Oh, very, very cool. Very nice. Vintage stuff. I like vintage stuff.
Cool.
That's exciting.
So yeah, that's kind of what's on my plate. But sounds like that's going to wrap it up for the Greatest DC Comic Show on YouTube. Next week, Sarah will be back with us, silver-haired Bronze Age babe. And I'm leaning towards doing, I'm about 99% sure we're going to do a Batman story next week. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So be looking forward to that. Thank you guys, everyone in the live chat who spent time with us, and everyone who watched on the rewind all the way to the end. You're awesome as well. We appreciate you and hope that you have a happy, healthy, safe week, and we get to visit with you again next Sunday night for our next Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Until then, take care. Say goodnight, Tony.
Peace.